All right, if you want to change the world, I think we have established in South Africa, certainly it starts with education.
Absolutely. And our man Carl, of course, recently joined changemakers at the Absa DBE inaugural policy dialogue on entrepreneurship education. I love this.
It's a very bold new partnership that's shaping the future of learning in a very practical and future-based way. This dynamic collaboration is now putting inclusive education and entrepreneurial thinking, that mindset, at the heart of youth development. Well done, helping the next generation thrive in what is a very rapidly evolving world.
Let's take a look.
Welcome to the Absa DBE inaugural policy dialogue on entrepreneurship education, a landmark collaboration that powers and champions inclusive youth education and the power of entrepreneurial thinking. Together and today, we are continuously paving ways for young entrepreneurs to thrive in this ever-changing world. Come along.
What we've learned has been completely fascinating, I think, to all of us involved in this work over the last 14 years. A lot of these problems are activated when learners are solving real-life problems in their communities that they care about.
Why do you believe it's so important to highlight entrepreneurship in this way?
Over 74% of people who are of a working age group are not in any employment. They're not in education, they're not in training, and they're not in employment. And now that's a massive crisis that is facing disproportionately young people. And so as a department, we need to ask ourselves, how are we preparing young people in particular for the world of work? Not only for the world of work as we know it now, but also for the world of work of the future. How are we preparing young people for artificial intelligence? How are we thinking about and being captains of industry? So it's very, very important, because in as much as, yes, there are fundamental issues that are still dogging the system around literacy, numeracy, around infrastructure, but we can't focus on those things at the expense of not focusing on the constantly rapidly changing world.
Tell me, how does Absa's approach to corporate citizenship help with entrepreneurial young mindsets?
Financial inclusion through entrepreneurship is our current strategy. It starts with developing an entrepreneurial mindset. Then we talk about driving entrepreneurial intent, then increasing the interest to pursue entrepreneurial action. So one, it's about, from a content point of view, we introduce them to entrepreneurship education, but we also give them experiential learning opportunities in addressing, or in terms of building an entrepreneurial mindset.
My first experience with entrepreneurship was when I started to recycle some of the bottles using wool. And it took me a long time, about 8 months, before I can get the first customer. From there, then that's where I realized that, yeah, I'm doing my best now in terms of doing this.
My first entrepreneurship was actually the starting of my business. So I was actually very new to the whole space. It was more of an experimental thing, and then here I am now in the whole company that's functioning.
Today, particularly excited to be talking about our partnership with the Department of Basic Education's Entrepreneurship, Employability and Education program. We're saying, how do we get our young people thinking differently, acting differently, whilst they're within the schooling system? How do I take initiative and solution for some of the issues that, firstly in my own life, secondly within the particular schooling context, in my community, because that's what it's about. An entrepreneurial mindset says, how do I think and act differently to problem solve for some of the issues that I'm encountering. This partnership talks to institutionalization. It's at 2 layers. It's about curriculum. How do you strengthen the curriculum in terms of embedding entrepreneurship? But also today, which is quite a critical day, the inaugural policy dialogue, the policies related to entrepreneurship education policy in our country, specifically with regards to basic schooling.
Look, I mean, the idea is firstly to not append and completely overhaul the curriculum. That's always very, very important. Curriculum stability in the sector is very important. But how do we augment the existing subjects within our curriculum? How do we also say to our children who are in schools of skills, how do we put them together with already industry players about the things that they're already learning? Because it's very important that when children are able to leave the schooling system, they need to actually be job ready. And understanding that the kind of rigid thinking around jobs and industry is not sustainable anymore.
I feel like school didn't prepare me to be an entrepreneur, but I think furthering my studies and focusing on entrepreneurial studies is actually what has helped me prepare myself to be a better entrepreneur. the school curriculum has prepared me to think of an entrepreneur, but I think when I was in school, I didn't see it that way. Until I started being an entrepreneur and realizing that the critical skills that you learn in application, problem solving, actually come in handy, even the mathematical part.
Absa's slogan is "Your story matters." How do you believe that ties in with the education system?
Your story matters is at the center, right? You're saying the stories of the young people in our country matter. And for us, by saying they matter, we're saying, how do we help them now to prepare them for the future? The great thing is that you're not just a South African bank, but a Pan-Africa bank. And in the manner in which you show up on the continent, we're saying, how do we solution for young people on the continent?
These conversations are vital to have. And as we shape future-ready education, let's continue to unlock the potential of entrepreneurship for our communities, for our youth, and also for this continent.
Oh, we absolutely love this. Obviously, you can see the transformations happening within these, in particular, entrepreneurs. But what I love here, yes, the core drive for the overarching education is amazing, but it's those soft skills, the network that's building around these entrepreneurs, going through a process like that, that is going to catapult them into the stratosphere. I absolutely love that. And some of the products we were seeing behind the scenes look amazing. So to all the entrepreneurs and to Absa telling their story, backing their story, well done.